Welcome back, and in this session we'll be talking about comprehensions, a very important part, an advanced feature of being able to handle lists. And Python has a way of handling sequence operation in addition to what is already available and list methods. There is this advanced operation called list comprehension. I had introduced you to this during our session where we went over lists, but this time we actually going to learn more about it and master it, as list comprehensions allows us to use the lists in such a way that we can build out lists using a different notation, and it is some sort of a loop built inside brackets. Let me quickly give you a sort of an example, and let's switch over to code here.
All right. Now, in here, let's look at how we can create a list and also build it out with just one line of code. Now, I'm going to use all that we've learned so far in terms of grabbing something and using the for loops especially. So let's say for every element A, I'm going to say for every element A for A in letter word, right? And let's see what this does. Okay, so I just created a list, and that list is all about creating or separating a list. I could put this as X, it doesn't matter. I can call this X. So like the same properties apply that we learned in the session of for loops. What have we just done? So if we print out, look at that. We just created a list from a word. This is the basic idea of list comprehension. Now, if you are familiar with a mathematical notation that I have it on the screen right now, this format should feel familiar with an example. So for all values of x is 2 in the set 0, 1 to 10, and it would mean that you are referring to every value that is 2, so inside your list. So let's see some more examples, and it's important I take math references. It might be really hard for you to understand, but that's the best way to understand this. A little bit of high school math won't harm you in any way. After all, we're going to learn data science and data analytics and handle data, if not any of this in Python. So let's try to see if I can put the same mathematical statement that I showed you on screen, and I'm going to say print all the let's say square numbers in a particular range. If someone asks you create a list and says or you're at an interview and tells you to create a list of even numbers in a range of 0 to 10, this is how you do it. And if you do it in any other way, you're not a Python expert, so listen closely. So I'm going to take this. We know that I need to square every number, right, for x in a range. So I have the challenge, the task that you've told is print a square every number within a range of 0 to 10. So I'm trying to make that happen. So I need to square a number, so that becomes my first condition. For every number in range, I will now say 0 to, so I know that if I put 10, it will only go till 9, so I'll put 11, so I'm covered. And now see what happens if I just print the list. So there you go, it's squared every number from 0 to 10. So that's still so simple that you can do this. Now it becomes even more fun if you add if statements. So what if I have to check for even numbers that we tried previously using the modulo, and I want to check not just how to print, but also check in a given range, and I don't even have a list. What would you do? You do list comprehension. So I want to check for even numbers in a range 0 to 10. So that's the task I'm trying to solve. So this is how we do it. For all values of x in the range function is important, and that's a method that we use. And if x, and I'll use the same thing, the modulo theory, that anything divided by is equal to 0. So if the value is 0, for all the numbers in range, make a list out of it. So that's what this does, and when I print that list, we've got all the even numbers. try this out. You can also do more complicated arithmetic. For the love of Python, let's try to build a currency converter, or let's see, we have a choice here. We can build a currency converter, which is fairly simple, or we can do a Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion. So I'm going to try this now. Let's say I'm going to convert, okay, Celsius to Fahrenheit. I think I got the spelling correctly. If I haven't, don't really judge me. I'm trying really hard. Okay, so I need to know how to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. So I will open Google and I'll say formula to convert Celsius into Fahrenheit. Let's see what that comes. Okay, I will click on whatever the first result is. Okay, so they already got this. I don't need to go anywhere. Google exactly knows what I'm looking for. But anyways, here it is. So let me go back. That was a better example. Okay, so I need to multiply 9 divided by 5 and add 32, right? So either I multiplied by 1.8 or 9 by 5 and add 32 to my temperature. That is exactly what we will do. Now I'm going to say, let's say there is a value of Celsius that I need. Then I need a Fahrenheit, right? And then I need to print Fahrenheit, correct? So I'll come back to that later. Let me say I am given a list of, so there is 0 degrees in Zurich, and there is 10 degrees in New York, and then we slowly come down. There is 20 degrees in Texas, and let's put a floating number just for the sake of it. And then we go to, let's say, Delhi, and Delhi right now is at 40 degrees. It's really hot. I don't want to be there. And let's say you come down south of Bangalore, and then you are at, let's say we're talking about 25 degrees. It's a little cooler. And you go further down towards the pole or towards north, or let's say you're somewhere in Indonesia, for example, now that we've come to Asia, and we are at 34 degrees, and now you're in London, and it's cold winter going on there. There is some storm coming in, snowstorm, and we are talking about -3 degrees. So let's see, we have a negative, positive, float, all type of integers covered, and let's see how our function will operate if I put it in this. So at first I need to put this inside because I'm creating a list, I put a square bracket. That's a mandatory requirement. Now I know that I need to use 9 divided by 5 multiplied with my temperature, and I need to add 32 to it. That's the formula, correct? So 9 divided by 5 and 32. And it's so simple, And after that, let me put this whole thing inside the brackets, and I need to be aware of order, correct? Order of operation. That's why we learned order of operation in arithmetic operations before. And after that, I need to use my for loop for every temperature. I'm addressing this as temperature. For every temperature, in what? Yes, you're right, in Celsius. You got that. And I will try to see what happens now. And I'm asking it to perform all of this operation, and then for every element you go over all of this, and then I want it to print Fahrenheit. I could do print Fahrenheit, or just simply put Fahrenheit, because hey, we're working on Python and we don't need to be so formal with it. And let's see what this does. Excellent. So we're getting, so 0 degrees is 57.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees is 75. Let's take the hotter one. It's about 129 degrees Fahrenheit, and then -3 is not handled. So I want you to see how you can look at handling this, but you're not affected by -3, right? So we are actually 52.2 degrees Fahrenheit is really cold, and yeah, that's you can see we have been able to operate all of that. So I wanted to try this as an example. We can also perform a nested list, right? What if there is a list within a list? How are you going to handle it? If you remember, we covered nested lists earlier. I'm going to take an example of that, and let's take that example of having a square number for whatever we had earlier, and I will add another squared number of whatever we tried for x in range. So I'm trying to square and square again. So if I had a result 4, it would be 4 times 4, it should show 16, 9 times 9, 81. So I'm double squaring them. You know what I mean? And I'm giving them the same range that we gave earlier so we can easily relate to it. And I'm going to call the list, and there you go. So we have been double squared. That's about lists. Now I really want you to try this out. It's something that should stick with you, and all of it will come in handy if you know this. So practice is very important. I will share with you some links that are websites that you can go and test your skills, and you can find them here. And after that, I would really look at how to work with different list comprehensions, and you should feel comfortable reading and writing basic list comprehensions after you've watched this video and after you've practiced this. All right, see you in the next class where we deal with methods.